900 students at Lehman College completed the final exam for Math 132 Introduction to Statistics. The final exams are normally distributed with a mean of 83 and a standard deviation of 4. According to the empirical rule, how many students are expected to score between 75 to 91? So the first thing that you have to realize is that since it says that the exam scores are normally distributed, we know that the distribution should look like a bell-shaped curve. It starts low, then it hits a peak, and then it starts lowering again. Okay. Now, the empirical rule gives you 3 percentages: 68%, 95%, and 99.7%. Now, here is your normal distribution. And now I'm going to explain the context of this empirical rule. You see, the mean is always located at the center. That is no problem. However, if you look at the range that starts with the mean minus 1 standard deviation to the mean plus 1 standard deviation, that's exactly being within 1 standard deviation of your mean. And anytime you're within 1 standard deviation of the mean, the empirical rule states that 68% or about 68% of the values should be within that range. Okay. Now, if I go from the mean minus 2 times the standard deviation all the way to the mean plus 2 times the standard deviation, that's going to be that 95% of your data values should fall in that range. And lastly, if I do this from 3 standard deviations below the mean all the way to 3 standard deviations above the mean, then you get 99.7. So the first thing that you like to do was to draw your distribution, right? Draw a bell-shaped curve and figure out the bottom values, okay? We know that in this problem, the mean was given to be 83, and the standard deviation was given to be 4. Okay, so I know 83 is the middle value. Okay, if I went 1 standard deviation below the mean, then you have to just simply do 83 minus 4. What is 83 minus 4? 79. Now, similarly, if I went 1 standard deviation above this mean, what would it be? No, we're going above the mean. So it's 79. No, 83 plus 4. Sorry. 87. Okay. Now, what happens when I go 2 standard deviations below the mean and 2 standard deviations above the mean? Yeah, this is going to be 75. And if you're 2 standard deviations above the mean, it's 91. And now if you're 3 standard deviations below, 71. If I'm 3 standard deviations, sorry, 95. You got it. 3 standard deviation above is 95. Okay, we're all good? All right. So now let's look at the range of interest. In this problem, what is the range that we're looking at or looking for? What is the range for the test scores that we're looking for? 68. Not 68. 75 to 91. Okay, we're looking for that range. So we see that 75 is precisely 2 standard deviations below the mean, and 91 is 2 standard deviations above the mean. So by the empirical rule, oh, sorry, I'll swap colors. By the empirical rule, %95 of the 900 students that took the exam scored between 75 to 91 on the final exam. But the question didn't really ask for this percentage. In fact, what they want to know is exactly how many students it was that scored in this range of 71 to 91. So what you do is mathematically, you have to compute 95% of 900, right? So 95% of 900. Well, what does of mean in math? What operation is referred to when you think of? Not divide, multiplication. So we're going to do 95% times 900. So if you do 95% as rewriting it as a decimal, you get 0.95. So you do 0.95 times 900, which is like 855. So 855 students scored between 75 to 91 on the final exam. And that's how you solve this problem by using the empirical rule.